Hey, welcome back. It's Stephanie Scheller with another fabulous business owner spotlight. I'm having trouble getting words out of my mouth all of a sudden. I was fine until I hit record there, so what's up with that? But that's beside the point. These business owner spotlights are all about finding amazing business owners who are doing powerful, incredible things and deserve the chance to share that and have amazing information that I feel needs to be shared with you. Because you guys who are watching this, you're business owners too. You're just like me, or at least I assume I'm not that special, and I always need motivation and help as well. So that's the whole point of these spotlights. Today, we have this amazing woman here with us. So I met her at an event earlier this year, and we kind of connected after the event to just chat over the phone. And I had us on the calendar for like a half-hour chat, and we chatted for like an hour and a half. It was fantastic. We got along really, really well, and I'm not going to say any more. Laura, Wade, thank you for joining us, and welcome to the call.
Oh, thank you, Stephanie. I enjoyed our conversation too. It seemed like every topic that we started led us down the path of another topic and another topic and another topic because we connected so well on so many of our core values about business and about what we're doing with businesses.
Yeah, I agree. It was really cool, like, because literally everything, it was like someone would mention something in passing and we'd be like, oh yeah, and it was like you're putting together online courses, right?
Yes.
So, and I had just launched mine, and so it was just really cool to find someone else. You don't find someone else on the same wavelength very often.
That's so true.
So I know a little bit about you, but our listeners here don't really. So what is your business story? How did you end up in business for yourself?
Well, I didn't just end up in business. There was never any other way for me. All of my life, I grew up in a family of 10 children, and my father was an entrepreneur. And all of my life, my father was always giving the message about, you need to be your own boss. You need to be in charge of your own life. You need to be able to take control. And the funny thing is, my brothers didn't listen. And the message was not for any of the girls because I, was growing up in this traditional Catholic family. I was supposed to get married and have children, and that was the course I was supposed to take. But who was the one listening to the messages that Dad was putting out there? Me. And I have one brother that toyed with being an entrepreneur during his life, but didn't make it a permanent part of his life. For me, I could not imagine any other way of life.
Nice. So how did you decide you wanted to go? Because you're kind of a CPA. I mean, you are a CPA, but there's a lot more to it. How did you decide that was what you wanted to do?
Well, I didn't decide that either. It happens that I come from a family that is highly mathematically inclined. I have about 100 first cousins. I have a very big family. At least 30 cousins are in accounting. They're accountants, CPAs, in corporate accounting. They're in accounting fields, yes. And those that are not accountants tend to be computer programmers, computer scientists, musicians, because music uses high math as well. And so I just happen to come from this family that has this penchant for math, and accounting is just a natural thing for us. And so for me, being an accountant was a natural thing, and being a CPA was the path I chose because it is an entrepreneurial path. For those that stay with it, there are a lot of CPAs in industry, and they don't stay with the essence of what CPAs are because they're doing it in private industry. But for me, that was the choice because it allowed me to be what I am naturally and be an entrepreneur doing it.
Nice. So that's just mind-boggling to me because I flunked math twice. So trying to imagine loving math, I'm just having a hard time with that one.
Well, you know what? When you are working within your natural abilities, it's not about a love. It's just about what is the essence of who you are. So, for instance,
Ah.
you've seen those people that are the court reporters and use those machines to do the court reporting.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, if you don't have the natural ability for that, it's not something you can learn. So it's the same thing for me. I worked with my natural abilities and then took my natural abilities and tweaked them to fit what I wanted to achieve and to have them work towards my passions.
Huh. So then, so you always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So you knew you were always going to own your own CPA firm, but you have a partner, correct?
I do.
And
I
is
do.
this person related?
No, she's not related, but she has the same natural abilities in accounting, the same.
Nice.
She's just
So
naturally an accountant.
how do you, I'm always interested in this whole partner thing because I know it can be as bad as getting married sometimes or as good as getting married, depending on if you pick the right partner. So how did you two
That is
decide
correct.
you wanted to be partners? Tell me that story.
Well, in reality, Marnie started working for me almost 20 years ago. And we just have a natural ability to work together. We both have completely different ways of getting to things, but we have the same value system and the same core system. And so we end up with the same results, but different ways of getting to it. So we have the same kind of commitment to our clients, the same kind of intentions with customer service and how we serve clients and the types of clients that we serve. For instance, we have a rule that if we suspect that someone is unethical, we're not interested in working with them. It just isn't an area that we're interested in going in, and we both have kind of the same gauge on what we consider ethical and unethical.
Huh. So you two, it sounds like fairly well matched. So it was kind of like one of those match made in heaven type of scenarios.
Yeah, we're fairly well matched in some things, and we're complete opposites in other things. For instance, are you familiar with the Colby profiles?
I'm not. No, I do DISC, but
Okay, so the Colby profiles, not dissimilar to DISC, a little bit different methodology of testing, but they test your cognitive ability. So it's about how you receive and process information. Well, my partner Marnie tends to be heavy on data gathering, which is a typical profile for an accountant. I'm high on data gathering, but I'm not as heavy as most accountants are. I'm actually really high in a quick start, which is the entrepreneurial personality. So even though we've got these two differences, that she's a heavy data gatherer and I'm a heavy entrepreneur, we're opposites in that respect, and so our skills mesh together. And it's really important sometimes to find those kinds of mechanisms, whether it's the DISC or the Colby or any of the other profiles that are out there, to try to find a balance in your company. Because if you hire all of the same people, you're going to be completely out of balance. So if you think of your company as a wheel and part of your wheel is flat, then your wheel's not going to go forward. So you need to balance the personalities in your company. And so if all we did was hire typical accountants, all we would have is data gatherers, and we'd have a hard time relating to clients because the personality wouldn't be there and the caring touch might not be there.
I think that's a really good point, because a lot of times I think that kind of gets skipped in that we try, like I've actually got a new client who has managed to almost completely surround themselves with people who are almost identical to them. So we do we do assessments as well, and I've never seen a company so completely lined up with these two categories in the DISC. Just blew my mind away. But they're struggling, right? Because they don't have anyone filling in any of the other pieces. And so, yeah, they were like, we just don't know what the problem is. They've got one guy that they want to fire who actually fills in one of the other pieces on the wheel. And they're like, we're done with him. We hate him. I'm like, well, hold on. maybe you should like give this person a chance. Because I've seen it kind of happen a couple times, but really heavily in this company, which is interesting.
Well, that is so true. And, you know, you run into scenarios where an entrepreneur will have a lot of yes people surrounding them, but really the person that's most valuable on your team is the no person, the person that says no to you. It's just like sometimes we have friends or mentors in our lives that sometimes tell us your behavior is not appropriate, you're overreacting, you're looking at that wrong, you might take another approach to that. Those are sometimes the most valuable people to us. So it's really beneficial to you to create that environment that you can recognize when you're missing something, and so that you can fill in that gap, and always recognizing that you are not the smartest person in the room, and you should never try to be the smartest person in the room, because then you leave yourself exposed. You're not protecting the underbelly of your business if that's what you do.
Yeah, I completely agree with that one. Now, I know there's a lot of CPAs out there, and this is going to be a two-pronged question, but one, what is it that sets you apart? You already mentioned a couple things that you're very selective about who you take on as your clients. So one, what sets you apart, but two, how did you find that? Because a lot of times people just kind of run with the status quo for their industry, not realizing they need something that defines them and differentiates them.
Well, I'll start with that part of the question first, because that was really what led me to where I am today. And I went through a period where I started, I was doing the typical things that CPAs did, which is all the compliance work and, ticking and tying numbers and doing procedures and et cetera, all of this what to a lot of people is really boring work, and it's why they never want to be an accountant.
Right.
But accountants kind of have this love of it. But at the end of a tax season one year, I stopped and looked at my business partner at the time, who has since passed away. I said, Wally, if this is all there is, I've got to figure out something different. Got to figure out a different way of doing this. And so that year I happened to go to an event. It was an accountant's boot camp. And I came back from that event and said, okay, I get it now. We're taking on too many of the wrong clients. We're doing too much for people that we can't really serve in the ways that we want to serve them or need to serve them. And so that year we fired 40% of our clients, and we ended the year with the same.
Whoa, okay.
Now,
how did you get the guts to do that? Because everyone is scared to death to do that.
Well, it was, fortunately, like I said, I grew up in a family of 10. I have 7 brothers, so I have a lot of guts. And I am, fortunately, I am a pretty fearless person, and not everyone would fire 40% of their clients in one fell swoop. And so what I would say to someone who realizes that they have the wrong clients is, don't fire 40% of them then. Don't do what I did, but take a small section that you really dislike and get rid of those. And there's a secondary reason to it, and it's that, it's the Pareto principle. 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your clients. Well, if 20% of your clients are providing the majority of your revenue, don't you think that 20% deserve all of your attention? And what's happening is these other clients tend to be bottom feeders, and they're sucking the life out of you, and they're not leaving you with the time to service those people that you should be servicing. They're the ones giving you the revenue. You should be servicing them. And what we discovered was there was a lot more that those clients wanted from us that we weren't providing because we didn't have the time. Our capacity was at maximum, and so we didn't have the time to give them the attention that they really were craving from us. So fortunately, we turned that around and gave them more attention, increased our revenue with fewer clients, and we've continued that to this day. To this day, if I look at my counterparts running CPA firms in our area, I could, with the same revenue as us, they may have 10 times more clients than we have, because they're churning a large number, a large quantity out, whereas we're focusing on relationships. And we're completely focused on the relationship, because, and that leads to why I do this, is that I want to change lives. I want to change the lives of the people that I work with.
Mm. So you want to, and I'm going to step out of the frame here for just a second, but I want you to talk about this one. And is this what connects to your book? Your goal to change lives? Or, because I know in the background, you've actually got a copy of your book right there, right?
Yes, the Growing Golden Apples. Yes, and it does connect to the book, because the book was done so that we could assist our clients with getting to the essence of why they're doing what they're doing. Why are you in business? Why are you running a business? And what happens to so many of us is that our businesses take control of our lives, and the business is running us instead of us running it. And that business is not serving our life goals. So what are you doing with the business? Are you running your business with purpose, with intention? Are you actually going someplace with it? We have an expression that we say here in the office all the time, is that most people aim at nothing and hit it with tremendous accuracy.
Oh, I like that.
So we are about planning your business so that your business is fitting your life and achieving your goals that you want to achieve in your life. So what is it that you want to do? Is it that your life goal is to get your children through college without debt? Is it to become a leader in your community? It's not, money is just the scorecard that helps you achieve things. Money is a scorecard that you use to evaluate your business. But what is the purpose that you're doing it for? If it's just money, you're leaving yourself empty. So where are you going with the business? What are you trying to do with it? And so everything that we do is talking about that type of philosophy, and scarcity versus abundance, and having a positive attitude versus a negative attitude, because what you focus on expands. And if you're focusing on negative, all you're going to have is negative.
Yeah.
If you're focusing on the positive, more positive is going to come to you. Do you know who T. Harv Eker is?
I do, yes.
Yeah, so T. Harv Eker always talks about being a money magnet, and being a money magnet, and people who want money attract money because they're a magnet for money, and people who unconsciously do things to repel money runs away from them. So what you want to do is bring all of that business success to you. So that's what we're focused on, is helping people to bring that business success to them.
I love that. I think I'm going to have to get a copy of that book, because that's the exact type of book that I would sit and just devour. So I'm actually, I will put a link for our listeners. I'll put a link below so you can grab a copy as well. But that actually sounds like a book I want in my library. Now.
Yeah, and you'll have to watch, because there's 3 more books coming out in the series. There's a whole series of books, because it's all about the different parts of your business.
Oh, geez. Well, it seems like 20 minutes is not enough time here, because we are like so out of time. But I feel like this is what happened last time, was we just kept finding other topics to talk about. But I do always like to end with this. You know, you're in the midst of building your business. You see business owners all the time who are building their business. You have to have some kind of wisdom, some kind of gem to drop for the business owner who is struggling, who is fighting, and who just, who needs something from you. What wisdom would you give to that person?
Well, the first thing that you always have to remember in business is you need to start with the end in mind. What is it that you want this business to look like when it's done? And once you've figured that out, it's your roadmap. So it's kind of like when you go on vacation, you don't even know how to get to your vacation location until you've decided where you're going. Then you can decide by car, by train, by air. It's the same thing with your business. If you haven't set that end goal and there's nothing that you're shooting at, again, you're aiming for nothing.
Right.
So you need to get clear in your head what it is that you're aiming for. And once that's in place, everything else is easy to work backwards from. Everything else falls into place from that.
Nice.
So always start with the end in mind, and remember to work on your business, not in your business.
It's
to work
funny,
on
right?
the business.
I talk to business owners every day who are struggling with this, because struggling with their business because they never got that piece. They never sat down and really looked at, and look, you can't just say, hey, we want to go to New York. New York is a big state, right? Hey, I want to go to New York, New York. I want to go to Manhattan. I want to go visit the Statue of Liberty. So I love that advice, because I think it gets skipped so many times, and it's so, so important for business success.
Absolutely. Everything else falls in place from there.
Yeah.
Everything. Because everything, for me as an accountant, everything is about math, and I can turn everything else into a mathematical function to get to that goal. And so that's the part of it that I specialize in, because what I'm doing is taking the subjectivity out of it. I'm taking the emotion out of it and making it objective and giving you good metrics to measure your business, and is it working towards that goal.
Nice.
So it's always the start.
I have really, really enjoyed having you on. I really appreciate it. I know you have so much on your plate, so thank you for taking time to sit down with me today.
Thank you.
Well, for our listeners out there, I think that was an awesome piece of advice. I definitely got some nuggets. Even from having already spoken to her for an hour and a half, I still got some great new nuggets. So I want to encourage you guys to go back, listen to some of the other business owner spotlights as well, but check this one out again, because I think there was some really deep stuff. There was stuff she just dropped it just casually, and it was so valuable. Take time to learn. Look, I don't have to say that to you. You're already watching a video to learn, but take time to deep dive, figure out what the end is, because you have huge potential for yourself. The only thing you have to decide is whether or not you're ready to stop trying to hit the target and you're ready to start smashing it. Join us for another Business Owner Spotlight right here on this channel. I'm looking forward to talking with you guys again. Go out there, make it a great week.